Come on in, everyone. Come on in because we are here for Heart and Hustle, Season 1, Episode 2. They calling it the good, the bad, and the fine. I guess the fine got to do with the fact that Chloe told Elena her husband ain't fine. Girl, Chloe, why are you going down that road? And why didn't you just apologize? Why are you doubling down on it and saying, well, if you got a problem with it, your marriage must not be good? Girl, you talk about flipping it around, even though you was the one that just should have said you sorry. But hey, I'm still loving this show, y'all. I really am. And I hope you will be watching alongside of me. And you know why I like it? Because I think the storylines are so relatable. We always get the best authentic version of reality stars in their first season. This is it. Because after here, if they get any notoriety, if they become popular, if the show becomes a big hit, they all now going to be trying to protect their image or trying to portray something that they're not. But right here and now, I feel like we are getting some real authenticity. Now, the only person who I don't feel has opened up is Latoria. And I said that from episode 1. She still hasn't opened up and said, what are your pain points? Because that's what everybody's revealing right now. What are the parts of your life that are going well? And what are the parts of your life that aren't going well? And how can we as the audience go on this journey with you? That's what makes it relatable. Because you either are these ladies, you've either been these ladies, or you know someone, a friend who is these ladies. That's what makes it relatable. So when the show came on, we're catching up with Elena. As we know, remember, Elena was the makeup artist. She had a full-on business. She had employees that worked there, everything. And from what I'm gathering, this was like Elena's little baby. She started this makeup and beauty brand, doing makeup to celebrities and stuff like that. She opened up a shop. Somewhere along the way, her husband, Josh, decided, I want to get in on the action. And then he quit his full-time job. And then next thing you know, Elena and Josh are working together. That was a bad idea. It was so much of a bad idea that now they sleep in separate bedrooms. But what I like what's going on now is they're breaking that up. They're saying, hey, Elena's saying, this is my field. I'm in the beauty industry. I'm the celebrity makeup artist. Josh, I don't know what you did, but you need to go back to that 9 to 5. There's really no reason for you to be over here in this lane with me. And then what we can do is we can have our separate lanes in business, but then we can come together in marriage and hopefully get back to sleeping in the same bedroom. But for now, Elena said she had to close down that first business. Probably was too much overhead. Maybe the bills weren't paying the rent that was over there. So she opened up a smaller place, a lounge that she gonna call her own. And then hopefully what Josh is doing, he's going back. He's either getting a 9 to 5 job or he has another business where it's his lane. I agree. It is too hard being in business with your spouse. It takes a toll on your marriage when you have to spend all day with your spouse, all night with your spouse. You got to agree with your spouse on everything, especially when I see now that this business probably was birthed from Elena. She was the makeup artist. It wasn't Josh. But now she opened up this new lounge and Josh shows up to see it for the first time. I guess she's been kind of keeping it secret. Not secret. She just wanted to make sure that, she didn't mix business with the husband and the wife thing. So when he does come, you can see the distance between them because there was no really warm embrace. It was a little bit of an embrace, but no kiss. I don't know. It was almost like a church hug. I ain't gonna lie. But I was a little disheartened over the hug and the no kiss, but as they started speaking to each other, I thought, okay, these two still do love each other. And I'm hoping that they can work it out. I really, really do. And it sounds as if what Elena is saying is she needs to get back to having a little bit more individuality in her marriage so that she doesn't feel so intertwined, a little bit of space with Josh. And I think Josh has to also find his juju. He's got to find the area in which he's successful. I think when you have two people who are successful individually and then you bring them together, I think that's the best combination. And so it doesn't look like they're giving up on each other, even though they're in separate rooms. Their goal is to get back into the same bedroom. But Along with that, Elena brought up and asked her husband, Josh, would you be open to couples therapy? And what I was happy to hear was her Josh said, no, I don't want to go to couples therapy yet because I think I need to go to individual therapy. Bravo to you, Josh, for recognizing that. They both recognize that they are right now in a relationship, although they've been married for 15 years, there are a lot of unhealed parts of them that is interfering in the marriage. And what they believe the best strategy is to first get individual counseling to sort of heal those parts of them that are coming to the marriage unhealed, and then come to the marriage in the better version of themselves, and then do couples counseling. I agree. In order to make couples counseling work, you kind of got to also learn about yourself individually before you can try to make it work with a person. That's why I'm always advocating therapy for people, even when you're single. You just be a step ahead. I'm telling you, I know a lot of people want to stray away from the fact they don't want to go back in their past. They don't want to look at things. They think it doesn't have any relevance, or they don't think it has a big impact on the decisions that they make and the people and the way they interact in their adult life. But it does. It has a lot of bearing on it. And until you go there and discover it, you really don't know how much of a bearing it has. That's why it's important that everyone does it. So I'm really happy to see that Josh and Josh and Elena are tackling this marital issue from a place of first starting with individual therapy. I'm happy to see it. And I can see the love between them. I still do see the love between them. And I see that what they say is I'm willing to give up this co-worker business relationship if it means we can save our marriage. And that's what I wanted to hear. And that's what I heard from both of them. That's what I heard. So I'm really happy to hear that. We also got to see a little bit of peek into Manira's life. Manira, remember, she's the engineer. She was an engineer for, I think she said 20 years or 10 years. And then she was also doing content creation for the last 10 years. So she was, she kind of had two hats. Well, she had more than two hats. She had the hat of being an engineer. She had the hat of being a content creator. She's a mother of 4 girls, young girls, and she's also a wife. And she said she was burnt out. Completely burnt out. So what she did was she decided to lean in full time to her content creating. She gave up the steady paycheck of the engineering job. And it looks like her husband, who's Norman, he's still working the steady 9 to 5. That's good. You need that steady money. When you are an entrepreneur, you need somebody in the house bringing in steady money, because entrepreneurship can be up and down, up and down, up and down. And you need that steady paycheck. I think that's what happened to Elena and Josh. They lost that stability in the steady paycheck, and that put more volatility not only into their business, but also put a lot of instability into their marriage. So I'm happy to hear that Norman is sticking with his 9 to 5. I don't know what he does, but he's sticking with it. And then it looks like Manira's storyline is going to be something centered around her mother, because, well, it was around 2 things. It was around her mother and her husband not particularly getting along well. But we also saw that Norman has this sort of personality where he's laid back, he's quiet. He comes off a little bit can be passive aggressive. And I don't mean it in a negative way. I just mean that I think he's conflict averse. He doesn't like to argue. He doesn't like conflict, which is great. Who wants to be with a person who likes to argue? But that doesn't mean that Norman doesn't have feelings. It doesn't mean that Norman doesn't have ideas or personality or her thoughts. And so right now I'm getting the impression that what Norman will do is he's comfortable taking a back seat to Manira. Well, that's great that he wants to get along with Manira. He wants to please Manira. But what I think what Manira is starting to feel is, I got too much on my plate. And one of the things that she has on her plate that she's bringing up is that she and her husband don't have a lot of date nights. That's what's important. So I like the fact that Manira is bringing this up. She did plan the date night, I think, which was the cooking class. But then along the line, she kind of went in a little different direction. She started talking about she wants her husband to also do date nights with her mama. And I was like, what? What, girl? What for? What's going on? And then she started telling this backstory that her mama's from India and her parents broke up when she was really young. Her mama lives with her now, which is probably good, help her take care of them 4 kids. But she said her mama and her daddy don't really have a good relationship. It sounded like her mama don't really like her daddy at all. It was a bad breakup. And her mama doesn't even like her talking to her daddy. It's something weird around it, where Manira got to feel guilty talking to her daddy because her mama and her daddy's relationship was so bad. No. And now Manira, Manera says that her mom and her husband don't get along well. So now she's trying to force her mama onto her husband, telling her husband, you need to take my mama out on date nights. What? Manera, girl, this is the wrong path. You going down the wrong road. Okay, stop right here. Let me slow down. Manera, girl, you need to stop seeing your mama as your mama. You grown now. You need to start evaluating your mama in the context of how does she get along with men, period, point blank. Okay, this is very important for women. There comes a point in time, women, you got to stop seeing your mama as your mama, the one that birthed you. And you got to, and when you get into the world of marriage and dating and kids, you got to start looking at your mama in terms of how did she handle marriage and kids and dating? Because some of the stuff your mama didn't do, you don't need to want to repeat it. Sometimes our mamas didn't get along in relationships. Sometimes they're not easy to get along with. So you can't keep trying to force people to get along with your mama when your mama was the problem. You see, so now what happens is Manera loves her mother. She wants to, she wants to maintain a relationship with her mother. But now what Manera is doing is she feels guilty for having a relationship with her father. And then she over here trying to force her mother onto her husband, and her husband don't really look like he want to have a relationship with her mother, because it really sounds like her mother might not be that nurturing. I'm gonna say it out loud. Her mama says she from India and she can't change her ways. That's what she say. It's a cultural thing. That's fine, mama. Then if that is the case, then Manera, you need to stay away from it. You see, Manera told us that when she was very young, she moved to Houston, Texas. So she missed a lot of years with her mama. She an only child. Her mama didn't have no other children. Her mama said she want to get back to dancing. That's really what her real love is. I don't know. This mama is giving me vibes that she's not really a natural born nurturer. It's not like I don't know, Manera. I'm just picking up vibes that your mama might be the woman where, although she had children, if she really had her way, she might not have had children. She would have just done her own thing. And then so as a result, it's hard for your mama to get along in relationships. So if your mama had problems with your daddy, I'm not saying your daddy was perfect. He probably had his things too. But the fact that your mama is still mad at your daddy when you said they broke up when you was young, this is 30, 40 years later, and your mama is still harboring all that resentment. And then she's also harboring it to the point where it's making you feel bad about having a relationship with your daddy. And then now your mama can't have a relationship with your husband. And now you're trying to force that too. Girl, you need to give up on this. What is the point of it? What is the point of trying to change your mama? Your mama look older, so you might as well let her be and stop trying to drag whatever difficulty she has in with getting along men, dragging that into your family and your marriage. I don't know, Manera. This ain't looking good. I don't even know if I would want, I don't even know. I don't know how bad it is in your house. I really don't know what's going on. But if it gets real bad, you better choose your family and your husband over your mama. And maybe you just go get your mama an apartment nearby and help her pay the rent. I get you want to support your mama, but maybe you get an apartment. But be careful about bringing juju and energy and old ways into your new family. I know you love your mama, but sometimes we got to leave like toxic situations or toxic personalities or toxic things in the past. We don't need to be bringing them forward in our lives just because they are mama or just because they are daddy or just because they are sister or their brother. Folks got to learn that, you have to have some separation sometimes if people can't develop and evolve in their own lives. You can't keep having them hang on. So I'm a little bit afraid for Manera. We're going to see what's going on with that going down the line. And another example of what I'm talking about is like Ro. So we hear about Ro, y'all. Ro was pregnant when she was in her 20s. She had this young girl named Sophie. Come to find out, Sophie's dad, I think he in prison. He must have been a high roller. He was making a lot of money. And when he was making a lot of money, the feds indicted him and froze all his money. Rose says she from the Baltimore. She from the East Coast. She grew up, she grew up tough. She says she valued money over everything. She says she didn't grow up the type of woman who wanted to have kids and wanted to have a family. She grew up the type of one that all she wanted to do was make money, be rich. That's what her t-shirt said, funds over feelings, funds over feelings. And that's the life she's been living, funds over feelings. So now it kind of seemed like her daughter's starting to have a little bit of problems in school. Come to find out, it sounds like Ro moves around a lot. Because when she asked her daughter, hey, do you like living where we're living now? Her daughter was like, yeah, can we please not move again like you normally do? What? Ro, why are you moving around so much? Ro says she move around a lot because she always chasing money. So she got to move. She got to move all the time because she's chasing money. Like she said, she never really valued family. She never really valued being a mom and a family and getting married and all the other kind of stuff. She valued money. And it sounds like it still is what drives her. But now her daughter's starting to have problems in school because her daughter's bouncing all around all the time. She having problems making friends. She getting bullied at school. Her daughter having to grow up tough like she did. I don't know, Ro. This is taking a wrong turn. This is taking a real wrong turn. I know you didn't. I know you said you never really dreamt of being a mother, and I know you said that you love your daughter and everything. But you might need to change some of your ways. She's saying now she want to change her ways. She said before she didn't put a lot of emphasis on relationships, but now she wants to. But guess what? You want to switch up now when your whole life has been about funds before feelings? You got to relearn some things. You got to unlearn some negative habits that you learned before that's not serving you well now into this new life you want to go into. I don't know. Even, she was telling her daughter, hey, you know what? I'm going to go out on a date. And her daughter was like, oh, who you going out with? LeBron James? I was like, what? Why her daughter saying you're going out with LeBron James? And even Ro was like, well, who's LeBron James? Her daughter like, you don't know who LeBron James is? And she was like, oh, LeBron James. Oh, yeah, he's old. Girl, forget about that. He's old. He's married. Why your daughter asking if you going out with a married man? You should have corrected her. You should have corrected her right then and there and said, listen, money ain't everything. Your daughter mentioned a man because he got money. She learning what you teaching her, that money is everything. What you should have told her was, girl, we don't go out with married men. We teaching the wrong lessons. Ro, you need to get it on track, girl. You need to get it on track. And if you're really ready to go into this new era where you say you want to put more emphasis on love, then you're going to have to change your mindset. Ro told us that she ain't never been in love before. No, you ain't never been in love with a man. You've been in love with money, funds before feelings. You gotta undo all those learnings. And here, I'm going to say it one more time, like I've been saying in my videos. Where she learned this from, funds before feelings. Where did she learn it from? She learned it in her childhood. She did. She gonna have to go back. If she want to undo this mindset of funds before feelings, never being in love, not being nurturing, whatever you want to call it, she got to go figure out where she learned it from so she could unlearn it. We learned a lot of crap when we were younger, and then we've been living that way for a long time. If you want to change it, as Ro is saying she wants to do, because now it's not serving her well in her life now, she got to go back and unlearn how she learned it, which means she got to figure out why she learned it in the first place. You just can't turn it around like that. You gotta figure out, why are you so addicted to this one sort of thing so you can become unaddicted to it. Like I said, these storylines are really good. There's something in it for every woman. You're going to be one of these women, or you're going to have gone through something these women are going through, or you got a girlfriend that's like some of these people. Then we got to talk about Chloe. Chloe over here, her storyline. She was married to an older man, and I think she married him for the money. That's what I think. And then he passed away. And although she had a nice event business, I think she was trying to lean more into like being more like the woman at home, which is no problem with that. One thing I'm gonna tell you about Chloe, everybody need to have a Chloe in their life, especially women that don't know how to date and women that don't know how to flirt. Chloe will teach you how to date, and Chloe will teach you how to flirt. You may not want to become all that Chloe is, because Chloe got a lot of red flags too. But if you're a woman that's shy in dating, if you're a woman that doesn't know how to kind of bring out your sex appeal, if you're a woman that doesn't know how to get men interested in you, you can learn some things from Chloe. Everybody has techniques in dating that everybody can learn from. And for that woman who is shy, and that woman that doesn't know how to flirt, and that woman that doesn't know how to spice up a man's interest in them, Chloe is a person you can learn from. Don't just turn your nose up at the Chloes of the world because she got, lip injections and a BBL. There's other parts of her that you can learn from, and Latoria, I'm gonna get to her. She need to learn a few things from Chloe. But Chloe over here talking about Elena's husband, talking about he ain't fine, and then doubling down on it and not willing to apologize and say she was out of pocket, she was out of line. She shouldn't have said that. You see, because Chloe, when she look at a man and say, is he fine? She looking at muscles and money. You could tell, because honestly, her husband, I'm happy she was the love of his life. But if you just talking about physical, I wouldn't call him fine physically. You know what I'm saying? But she liked his money. He was fine with his money. I'm sure that's probably what made him fine, or he was fine with his muscles. But just to go around and call Elena's husband not fine, I think she was a dig at the fact that Elena's husband, Josh, don't have a lot of money. He's not like independently wealthy. You see, he had a business with Elena and now he's probably trying to find his own way. So according to Chloe, he ain't fine because Chloe also, I think, is a woman that only looks at money. Well, I don't say she only looks at it, but she highly favors money. So, you know, but people could learn something from Chloe. They're really good. And one of the people I think really needs to learn something from Chloe is Latoria, because Latoria, like I said, of all the ladies, she's the only one so far that really isn't bringing out her real storyline. I know she wants her storyline to be that she's a boss lady, she's a publicist around the town. Everybody wants her to start business with her. She's liked by everyone. That's what I believe about Latoria. Everybody likes Latoria. I think she's a nice person. I think she has a lot of girlfriends. But in the area of romantic dates, she ain't got no game. She don't have no game. And that's why her dating life is in the pits. They in the pits. She focuses so heavy on business, which is her strong suit. She focuses so much on making friends and bringing women together, which is her strong suit. She not concentrating on her weaknesses, which is she don't know how to make it in the dating world. She gonna have to learn a few things. Like I said, she better learn something from the Chloes of the world, at least in that part, because they had this scene where they was at the rodeo, the Houston rodeo, and this guy came up to her and he knew her and he was like, oh, hey, they gave each other a hug, but it was like friend vibes all the way around. And she was like, oh, text me. He was like, yeah, sure. He ain't texting her. She in the friend zone. See, Latoria gets put in the friend zone by men. She can't get out the friend zone. She need help from women like Chloe to figure out how to get out of the friend zone. That's who she need help from. But she too busy sticking with the part where she's strong in, which is business and bringing girlfriends together. But she don't want to face the fact that she got problems in her dating life. And so far, she's not talking about it. Latoria gonna be the person that's gonna want to talk about everybody else, talk about how good a business is, but she's not gonna want to address the elephant in the room, which is, girl, you ain't had no boyfriend or nothing in probably like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. It's gonna be some big number. I know it's gonna be some big number. It's gonna be she always in the friend zone. Let's talk about that, Chloe. If you are already successful in the business world and with your girlfriends, keep doing what you're doing. But let's talk about over here, what you need to do differently over here. That's what we need to work on. Tori, the nice lady, she don't want to offend nobody. And well, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a mask, but even in this scene where she ran into this lady, she knew the lady by face, but she didn't know the lady by name. And instead of just asking the lady, hey, I'm sorry, I forgot your name, she just tried to pretend like she knew the name. And she didn't want to say nothing to the lady. What for? What's wrong with saying, hey, girl, hey, how you doing? She goes, I remember your face, but I can't remember your name. What's wrong with admitting you forgot the girl's name? Instead, Latoria keeps the mask on like she remembers the girl, brings the girl over to introduce her to all her friends on this cast, and then can't even introduce the girl by name because Latoria is so busy keeping the mask on, not willing to say she don't know who the girl is. Latoria, why do you keep wanting to paint this perfect image like it's just perfect? Like I'm saying, Latoria, of all the ladies, I'm going to tell you right now, she's the one I feel like is covering up the most. She's the one I feel was covering up the most. We didn't really see that much from Labrina this episode. She didn't really have that many parts of it, but hopefully we'll see more of her later going on. But like I said, I really like this show. I really like the cast of ladies. I just think there's a lady here that every woman can identify with, either because, like I said, you either been her, you are her, or you got a girlfriend that like her. So anyway, I hope y'all will keep watching the show with me, but that's all I got for now. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.